Hey guys, Seth here from the future. I'm about to share some podcasts that were recorded just a little bit ago. And the reason why we're releasing them is because we still believe there's some good stuff in there. Now, first, you may know some things that aren't quite accurate anymore. We are no longer Make It Known Media. We are now Seth David Films. And we have been filming for a little bit longer than the time we say in the said podcasts. However, a lot of these concepts are still things we think are not only valuable, but will help you have a better wedding day. So we wanted to release these to the public because we believe it gives you a better chance to just be prepared for what is your most expensive day of your life. We hope you enjoy, and thanks for tuning in to Seth David Films Podcast.
And welcome back to Make It Known Media's podcast number 2. Today, we're going to talk about Day of Advice.
But before we get to that, I just want to welcome you guys all to our lovely podcast. My name is Seth.
And I'm Elani.
And we are part of the team that makes up Make It Known Media. We are wedding videographers out of the amazing town of
Monmouth, Oregon.
That's right, the Monmouth, Oregon. How far are we from Portland? You know, a city people have heard of.
So far, like an hour south-ish.
Yeah, it depends on what part.
And west. You got to go south and then west.
Yeah, we're just off the I-5, if you know the one freeway we have. I guess we got the 205 and 84, but we don't have many freeways. For you Southern Californians who take like 3 freeways to get to the closest grocery store, we are quite low on the old freeway system. And those of you from the East Coast, a freeway is actually free, no tolls. Now, I had a question for Elani. I just saw a new wedding film. It's not new at all, but I saw a wedding movie. She asked me the question, I wonder how many weddings I've actually been to.
I can't even count. I have no idea.
You have no idea, right?
So many.
Which made me think of the movie I just watched. So my question is...
Wedding Crashers.
No, not Wedding Crashers.
Planner.
No.
50 First Dates.
J-Lo, right?
No.
Is there a wedding in 50 First Dates? I guess they
at
get
the very
married.
end, maybe. We don't even see. I think we see the video of them getting married.
Oh, so it's like a...
Is it new?
How many times have you been the bridesmaid?
1, 2... Only 2?
Oh, man, so you don't have as many dresses as in this
Oh,
movie.
have you?
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
What is that called? The
27
27
dresses.
dresses.
I can't give you a better clue than that.
So good. Nice.
Oh, man. So anyways, it's kind of fun. Like, watching wedding movies before is like, oh, yeah, rom-com with the wife, whatever. But now it's kind of like, it takes on a different
the
feel.
behind-the-scenes
like,
knowledge.
I was watching 27 Dresses, and spoiler alert, the end scene where the main actress gets married, they have the 27 bridesmaids standing in a row, and I just kept thinking, how the crap would I shoot that?
Yeah. Poor photographer.
What wide angle lens would I use? Would I shoot it sideways and kind of get them all to stand perfectly, or would I? I was just thinking of what a nightmare that'd be. But that's what happens when you think of everything in videography terms.
Yeah.
So there we go. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Nice.
Anyways, okay, so we digress. But back to today's topic is Day of Advice, and it's fun having Elani here because before Elani worked for Make It Known Media, what did you do?
I had several jobs in the wedding industry. My first one was I was an event center coordinator, manager. So I worked on as a little event center on the campus that I went to.
Nice.
And I was their venue. I guess the venue manager would be probably the right term.
Nice. Did you like it?
I loved it. Oh, man. That was one of my favorite jobs of all time. And then...
Way better than the crap she has now.
More recently, I worked at Sandals in Jamaica, and I worked on their wedding team. So I did more elopements. There were a few bigger weddings, but yeah, a lot of elopements or smaller wedding parties.
Did they usually have like the full like video and photo team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had.
I suppose
not
so.
Video.
Of course
I think
not.
if we did video. I think it was mostly photos.
People, you need video.
Yeah, but again, it was like, small. Yeah. It was like their honeymoon, but then they got married on their honeymoon, kind of.
So it wasn't a honeymoon till halfway through.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just a vacation, and then it became a honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's awesome. So today's day of advice, we have it from a couple different angles, and I also have been a couple different persons in the
Yes.
wedding. Some I've got paid for, some I have not. I think I've DJ'd 3 weddings, so that was before I did any wedding videography. Because believe it or not, I have a loud personality, and I love to keep the party going. Hey, okay,
Whoop,
sorry. Which is kind of my style as a videographer. I'm kind of like your biggest cheerleader. The other thing I've done is I've actually officiated.
Officiated?
Officiated. Fished. No. I have done 2 weddings, and one of them, of course, was your sister, which was awesome. But those were a whole different situation, and those, I always joke, I think I was more stressed out than the bride and or groom in those situations. But they're great because then you get to know them in a more personal, a more spiritual situation as the officiant, and I really enjoyed that as well. I mean, as you can tell, I love weddings, and I love being a part of them as well as Elani does. So hopefully this section today of advice can be something that will be a toolkit for you to really just enjoy your day, because that's like going to be what we stress the most. Enjoy your day. So here we are out at the Make It Known podcast, and our goal is to inform you about things that will help you plan your perfect day, kind of introduce who we are as your wedding videography team, or as hopefully your prospective the wedding videography team, and to inspire you to just have that ultimate wedding day experience. So, without further ado, Elani, take it away. Day of advice, number one.
This one, actually, I forgot about one of my other wedding things I've done, which is catering.
Yes, you have.
Most recently, even after Sandals, I work in the food and beverage industry and have done a couple weddings on the food side.
Why, that's funny. What made you think of that, Elani?
Number one is drink water and eat throughout the entire day. This is so important. And I feel like if you're a bride-to-be or a groom-to-be and you've heard about people telling you all their unsolicited wedding advice, they're going to tell you, eat. You never eat your catered food. You think you're going to sit down, but then you get to talking, or you have to get that golden hour sunset in. So I feel like most brides and grooms hardly ever do sit down for their actual, or they'll sit down, but then they are talking or enjoying the speeches, so they don't actually eat a whole lot, which means you should probably eat breakfast and lunch.
Yes. A lot of that mistake is made all the time. Like, I'm having a huge dinner, I'll just wait for that. Don't wait.
Or I'm too nervous to eat. My stomach can't handle it. You got to put something in there.
Yeah, and we started carrying granola bars with us because often they would even miss the whatever was out. They just didn't eat it. And we're like, you need to eat something. You need to drink some water. And they feel better. That's so weird.
I'm not hangry anymore. What?
And I encourage. I don't know if Elani and I both love to travel. So I always say the best traveling experience is where you're just going from food to food to food to food. Because then you just always have the energy for the next step. I always had candy bars with me and granola bars when I travel. The same is true for your wedding. This is a trip.
Yeah.
Figuratively and literally. You are going throughout and you're seeing so many people and you're so excited and there's just so many emotions. But to truly enjoy that, you need to keep up your energy and you need to be hydrated. So, please drink water. And maybe kind of have a bridesmaids or groomsman, someone who can help you be accountable for that. Exactly right. Because you sometimes it's not on purpose. You just literally forget. So, and even us as videographers, there's times I'm like, I don't think I've drank water today. And so I'm like, go get water for both of us. And because even for us, we want to make sure we're on our top game. So drink, eat throughout the day. It's a great one.
And make sure your wedding party has access to food.
Yes.
Not just yourself, but if your bridesmaids are up since 8 a.m. with you the whole time, if you're not eating, they're probably not eating too. So to keep everybody happy and energized, make sure you have some kind of plan for snacks throughout the day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks.
Yeah, especially we'll talk about this too, but if you're drinking too, keeping that, keep the healthy things in your body. Okay, this one, number 2, I feel is almost like a summary of all of them in one.
Right.
Is that?
I think we have this one bulleted several times, in different words.
So forgive us, but the reason why we do it because it is that important. Number 2,
relax, and literally at any cost, just take a breath, take a breather, have someone else there to take care of all the day of logistics. This one, and then goes into the next one as well, like hiring a wedding planner. Or if you don't have a wedding planner, choose someone to be your gatekeeper so that on the day of your wedding, you may have done all the planning, you may have done all the pre-wedding day prep, but on your wedding day, make sure you have someone there that knows the answers so that if you have a vendor come up to try and get a question from you, they know who else to go to first. You don't want to be the one answering all the questions. You're busy doing other stuff. So have someone
100%.
be the gatekeeper. No one gets past me to the bride. I'm the one with the answers. I can get you what you need. And if for some reason I don't, then I will talk to the bride. So only the gatekeeper should be asking the bride these questions. And hopefully they won't have to because they'll have all the answers ahead of time.
Exactly right. No, it's so good. So the relax, and I love that we wrote on our notes at any cost. So this, you may not see a friend as long as you like to see them. In fact, I'm going to say you're not going to see any of your friends on your wedding day as long as you want to see them. That's kind of really what wedding days are. But taking those moments to sit and relax and enjoy. I'm looking through my list so I don't say too much beforehand, but taking that time where you eat and you have time to eat and there's things that other people are doing that you don't have to be a part of. Taking those time to really not know what crazy things are going on behind you. That is worth its weight in gold. So Elani's kind of the 2 in a row, which was hire a wedding planner. And this one we benefit greatly from. So it's a very selfish one that we've picked as well, because a wedding planner ensures us that we don't have to make things happen as much because we know somebody else will make them happen. As much as I appreciate saving money, the reason why we really encourage wedding planners is because of how great they do their job and change a wedding.
They know the order of events the day of. They know all the things that have to happen to make it run smoothly. One thing I always think about is one of my friend's wedding. She didn't have a wedding planner, and when it came down to like walking down the aisle, they were like, okay, who goes when and where and how long do we pause? And it was like we didn't have any of those things ready because we didn't have a wedding planner. So just having someone to be that person that stands behind the doors and says, okay, now you go. Okay, now we wait 5 seconds, and okay, now you go. And that has all the the know-how because they've done it 1,000 times before.
Exactly right. And so we think of the wedding planner as the gatekeeper because they really are the ones who kind of keep you safe on your own wedding day. When people know that you can't be bothered with problems, it changes the game. But if you can't hire a wedding planner, like make sure somebody, and make sure everyone knows who that person is. No offense to people who have like, oh, this is my best friend. She's really good at it, but she's quiet. No, you need Aunt so-and-so who everyone knows and can tell people what to do and not worry about hurting people's feelings sometimes. Because this sounds bad. You don't need to be pushy because a good wedding planner will come off polite and still get the job done. But if you can't hire the professional, find someone who you know gets stuff done more than
and be very clear about roles and whose role is what.
Ooh, good one.
My another wedding I did where I was in charge of the catering, the bride had like planned everything herself and had the meal all planned out, and I mean she did everything herself, which it was a smaller wedding, so it was manageable, and she's a party planner, so she does this for fun all the time. But she would assign each of her lady bridesmaids a role, like, okay, you are in charge of the caterer and making sure the caterer has everything they need. So ahead of time, she set her bridesmaid up with all the tools she needed to help me as the caterer.
That's awesome.
And so then she had one of the other bridesmaids is, okay, you're in charge of the photographer. They're going to come at this time. This is what they need. This is where it's going to be. So having that, and then having it written down of like, this is the list of what you may or may not need, and this is how to do it.
So good.
A little bit micromanaging, but she did it before the wedding day, so that on the wedding day, she didn't have to do any of that.
Yeah, and so, and if not, you hire a professional to do that for you, because that is key. People don't assume things will go right, because they won't. They'll still have a good time, but and this kind of goes into the next one, and this one is kind of hilarious because it's another one that really helps us. Number 1, 2, 3. So the first one is drink water. Number 2, relax. Number 3, hire a wedding planner. Number 4,
hire professionals.
Boom. Yeah. So it's a little selfish. Obviously, we think you should hire someone like us rather than your Uncle Tom who loves. Uncle Tom's a terrible thing to say. It's the first thing that came to mind. That was a bummer. But your uncle who has the cool camera he just got, great. He probably shouldn't be doing your photos or your videos because he's not going to know how to actually work through a wedding day situation. I have some amazingly talented friends who I would even argue are better videographers with me, but they should never shoot a wedding because they don't know how to handle those situations. And professionals know how to handle those situations. And we've been doing them so long. The reason why we do this and we love it is because this is the kind of situation we thrive in. And this is true of all the good photographers I've worked with, the good wedding planners I've worked with, the good musicians I've worked with, because they know how to just roll with the punches.
How to problem solve and troubleshoot. And okay, we've run into this situation before, or we know, how to fix it.
It's a rodeo and they know how to stay on that bull. So anyways, so professionals make everyone's life easier because I know that the sound guy, I don't have to worry if they're not set up right. Because I've had multiple weddings early in the career where I'm like, no, you probably don't want to try to put the sound there because no one's going to hear you. So I'm having to problem solve a sound issue because sound's so important to me as a videographer when I should be setting up my tripod. So me knowing that there's a professional at every location just makes everything run so smoothly.
Next, we have don't feel like you need to see or talk to every single guest at your wedding.
That's good.
Even if you have a small wedding, there are going to be people
good.
who you don't necessarily talk to, and that's okay. If they want to talk to you and they feel like that's very important to spend 5 minutes gabbing at you about how happy they are for you, then they'll come find you. Don't feel like you have to talk to everyone.
Yeah. Now, I really... I had a friend of mine who actually came to our wedding. They're like, hey, what if we just came and hung out with you beforehand? Because they thought, I mean, we'll see you at your wedding, but you won't be offended if we don't come. So this is a terrible example, but this is the situation I'm going to use. So they came 2 weeks before and we hung out with them before we were married because they were from Canada and they flew in. But they're exactly right. On the wedding day, I had no idea who was at my wedding because all of our family and friends were there and we want to talk and enjoy it with all of them. But we really don't have time. You just don't have time to connect with people that you want to connect with. And it's really hard because some people you haven't seen in a long, long time. But trust me when I say this is about you and your future spouse. That is the most important thing. It's your job to enjoy the day with them. Everything else, you really got to just kind of let it go. You can't have any other expectations beyond, I really just want to have a great day with my future spouse. Because and I feel like having that expectation takes off a lot of weight. Because when you go in thinking, oh, I'm going to have this great time hanging out with every single person who's going to come.
I see so-and-so who I haven't seen in 8 years.
I just want to curb that expectation just a little bit so that you can enjoy your wedding for what it is, a celebration of love between two people. So that was kind of a
good segue into our next point of
yes. Oh, that is funny. I didn't even look at the next one. That's embarrassing.
Enjoy time with your spouse. So make sure you plan time to take away just a few, as long as you can with your spouse to enjoy the fact that you two came together to get married today. And that's the point of the day is that at the end of the day, you're married. And so spending time with them as a couple to just be together.
And we've talked about this before, but planning maybe moments alone together, like making sure, of course, as videographers, we want you to take the golden hour at 30 minutes. And often me and the photographer or photographers, depending on the wedding, will kind of back off a little bit and let them just kind of be that moment. And we'll just kind of photo and video from afar. But taking those times to just really savor the moment and just kind of enjoy each other as you look at each other and see each other and really, really see each other, because make sure you're not just trying to entertain all those around you. I know people like me, we have that desire to entertain and make people happy, but your job is to make your future spouse or spouse happy. That's your job that day and to enjoy it.
Yep. Soak it all in. Our next point, we've kind of touched on a little bit.
Yes.
And it's also very important. No micromanaging.
And this is day of. This is day of.
Yes, day of. So beforehand, do all the planning you want. But on the day of, if you're micromanaging, you're not having a good time. You're not enjoying yourself.
All those
You're not
typers
relaxing.
I am having a good time micromanaging. Ugh. No,
Yeah,
you're
no,
not.
you're not. You're not. You're not going to enjoy your day or remember all the moments you want to remember if you're spending time micromanaging.
And even if you see things that aren't quite the way you expected them, just kind of let it go. Just kind of like, oh, that's someone else's job. That's no longer my job. My job is just to hang out, enjoy the day. No one's going to blame the bride or the groom for things that go weird, because that's not. They're just going to enjoy you.
They'll blame.
Oh, we lost Elani. That's weird. I don't know why. Check 1, check 2. Gonna do low on plugs. Plug back in.
Oh, no. Check.
Check. Okay, we're
I'm
back
back.
on. That was weird. So what was the last thing we said? It was like micromanaging, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, I was gonna. Oh, I'm gone again.
Oh, that's weird. What's this one?
You said no one's gonna blame the bride and groom, and I agree. They're gonna blame the professionals. That's why we're here.
Exactly right.
If something goes wrong, it's our fault.
Yeah, we can handle people looking at us if something goes wrong. That sounds weird because usually you don't. But like I've dropped a tripod. I've had people stare at me. I've dropped a tripod with a camera on it, frankly, and it was got a little bit. But I quickly, but I don't care because I know I'm gonna get that shock. And amazing enough, my lens was a little bit broken. My camera was a little bruised, but it still worked for the rest of the day. Yeah, in fact, I'm still shooting with them both today. They're still amazing. Way to go, Sony. Way to go, Tamron. Next up, this is it's day of advice, but it's kind of really the day, but like kind of a prep thing too. But it's also something to think of. So this is a day of advice, not just for the bride and the groom, but maybe for other people as well. So we're kind of going to go into a lot of specifics for a specific part, because this specific part is pretty important.
Helps tell your story.
Yes, for us videographers.
Maybe avoid some awkward moments or
you know who you are.
Wasting
We're looking at you
during the reception, and that's speeches.
Okay.
You don't want that 20-minute long speech where someone came up with without any guidelines or notes and is like, I'll just wing it, and then lose track of the time and rambles for 20 minutes about themselves.
Yes. So these are your speech giver's guide.
So the advice is give your speech givers a speech guide. So tell your speech givers, here, I know you're going to give a great speech, but here are a few pointers that might help you since you probably haven't given a speech in a while or at all.
Right. And some people, they don't need it. We get that. But most people need a little help. Even I had several speech classes. In fact, I taught a speech class in college for a while. that's another story altogether. But these will just help people kind of stay on focus. So here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10 tips for giving a speech at a wedding. And some of you bride and grooms give speeches too, so you can listen to this as well. Okay.
Number 1,
dun, dun, dun.
Talk about the couple as a couple.
Yes.
Talk about the couple. You're here for the couple. It's the couple's day. If you get through your whole speech and you've only talked about one half of the couple.
So I remember when Karen and I went to junior high together, we had the best of time. And then in high school, we played on the football team. And then, we don't want to hear a history of just you two. We want to hear about you experiencing that couple together.
And number 2, speak to both halves of the party. So you're not just talking to your best friend, Kevin. You're also talking to their new partner. You're talking to them as a couple. You're talking to everyone in the room, both halves of the party.
What I love about this part is you can talk about like the changes that happened when they got together. That's a huge, boom. Oh, this is them, and this is what happened when they met. Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Pause. Pause for effect.
Oh, nice.
Pause to grab everyone's attention.
You didn't think I could wait that long, did you?
Pause to regather your thoughts. It's okay to pause.
In fact, pauses, are some of the most powerful things you can do in a speech. It grabs attention. It helps people think about what you're saying. And for me as the video editor, it makes my job a whole lot easier.
Mm-hmm. It's much easier to cut during a pause.
So true. But it's so great. People who use the pauses great. Oh, they're incredible speakers. So incorporate pauses in your speech.
Next up, we have feel free to cry.
Oh, please
It's
cry.
okay to be emotional. It's okay
It's awesome.
to let out your feelings.
It's great.
Don't try and bottle it all up.
No. We love it. All emotions. We want tears. We want laughter. We want both. We want cute laughs. We want...
And if you need to
wipe away the
pause to
tear.
cry,
Oh, please
that's
do.
okay too.
Just make sure you're facing the camera. Thanks. No, good stuff. Emotion is amazing, and it plays so well. And this is a great time to do it. I talked about this before, but weddings are one of the few cultural events in America where we get to be unapologetically romantic,
Gushy.
and you can just cry about love. You can sing about love. You can joke about love, but it's all about it, and it kills every time. It's just wonderful. This
Number
next
5. Seth, would you like to go ahead?
Oh, man. So I think she's doing this because I also have been a perpetrator of this when I was a best man. Avoid alcohol before toast. Now, I am going to say, or be very careful with your alcohol consumption, because so many times people have had too much to drink by the time it's time for toasts. And what they think is funny is really not.
funny.
It's really not. I also did a toast, and I think I had maybe one drink. Needless to say, I was supposed to share a best man speech with my brother, and I took all of his points. And so then the two of us, then he had to make up his on the fly. So I probably could have planned that out a little bit better. But we do really avoid, I know people have different feelings on alcohol, but really be there for your friends. You're there to give a speech for them. So try to be your best self to give that speech. And this is all the preparation. This is not being too inebriated so that you can really enjoy it.
After your toast,
Hey, whatever.
go ham.
Do it. Hey, have a good time.
Next up, memories are great.
Yes.
So feel free to include those memories in the speech.
Yep.
I remember this one time.
Yeah.
When they came back from their first date and so told me this
So
over the
good.
phone in person. It's okay to bring the memories back in.
We love memories, especially of them as a couple and as they changed and as they grew as a couple. We love all those things. Yeah, so good. Okay, the next up, this is kind of just a little help for the day of. It's okay.
To bring notes for your speech.
Yeah.
People feel like they need to memorize it oftentimes so they can use their hands to talk, or I don't know, just so that they look more professional. You're not a professional. This is a wedding. You're just giving a speech. So bring your notes. Paper is better, but feel free to bring your phone if you need to bring a phone.
Yeah.
A small notebook is awesome.
Yeah.
Bring notes to keep you on track so that you're not, like I said, going on for 20 minutes. Nobody wants to listen to a 20-minute long ramble because you didn't bring your notes.
Oh, and it is funny seeing how people kind of really lose track, but having those notes brings you back into the focus of what you want to say. This next one's kind of a funny, not funny one. This one is.
Don't feel like you have to be funny. Some of the best speeches are more sentimental or, a little bit cheesy or soft. There are places for some people are good at funny and some people aren't, and don't feel like you have to be one of those people who's funny. You can give a great speech that doesn't make people laugh.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, 100%. In fact, sometimes those are the best parts. But what we do encourage you is to be yourself. Kind of in this whole concept of don't feel like you have to be funny is we really don't want you to be someone you're not. Mm-hmm. We want you to be as honest with who you are and how you would present your speech to your
friend or your
brother,
sibling.
your sister, in a way that's true to you guys. Now, some humor is going to happen. Like some of the most awkward guys have had the funniest speeches, not because they're inherently funny, but because they just told what they saw and how they experienced it, and it just killed. I often think of the movie Men in Black. Mm-hmm. Will Smith is funny, but Tommy Lee Jones destroys in that movie. He's deadpan and hilarious. In the same way, sometimes were you just saying a simple thing like, yeah, he was usually single when he was young, or whatever it is, mm-hmm. it really just changes the game. But you are there to bring your experiences and your moments with the couple and just share those because those are gold. Don't try to be something you're not.
All right, second to last.
Yes.
Avoid inside jokes.
Oh, these are the worst.
Unless you explain them, and if you're explaining them, don't take 5 minutes to explain the inside joke just to get one little joke out. But if you have to tell an inside joke, be sure to explain them so that the rest of the party, the rest of the couple can all be in on the joke.
That's right.
It's not funny if they don't know the backstory.
Sometimes it's just not funny at all, even when you do.
Yep.
So be careful of those inside jokes. I get it. You guys have had tons since you were growing up, but you really, as you do this, you can, if you reference something, you really got to bring something to bring the whole group into it. Speeches are a chance to say, hey, group, let's enjoy this couple for who they are. Let's take my experiences, and then you can kind of reflect on your experiences of this couple, because that's what they're all doing. We're honoring the love story between this couple and sharing who they are through our shared experiences. So don't take that away from people by sharing inside jokes that don't make sense unless you were there. It's just kind of not the place or the situation.
Just makes everyone uncomfortable.
So good. Oh, this is a hilarious one to end with.
Very last.
Yes.
End with a toast.
It's a toast.
Cheers to.
I would like to toast their relationship. Something that says this speech is over, but it's a call to toast for a reason.
Let's
You are
toast to
giving
their
a
future. Let's toast to
something.
Yep.
And let's have it. Let's to the couple. Even that, it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure you end, because otherwise, it's people don't know when
Don't
to
know
clap.
that you're done with your speech.
And it happens so many times. I wish
Yep.
this was like something that never happens, but it happens all the time. So those are the 10 tips we have. Talk about the couple as a couple. Speak to both halves of the couple. Please pause. Feel free to cry. Don't drink too much alcohol before the toast. Memories are great. It's okay to bring notes. Don't be someone you're not. Avoid inside jokes and end with a toast. Whew. Okay, I'm done for a bit. You're next.
Just a couple more day of advice notes here we have. Have an end of night plan.
Yes, please.
Don't just say, yeah, and then we dance until midnight. You need to have some kind of end to your party. And it's better if your guests know when the end is. If you say ahead of time, we're doing a send-off at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., because then people know how long they want to stay. If you don't tell them when it ends, they're going to be wondering, 9:30 rolls around and everybody's still dancing hard. They're like, is this going to go until midnight? Do I need to go home now? Or is it close? Should I stay for the send-off? If they know when the party ends, then they can make their plans accordingly. And then leave all the important end of the day things to the vendors or your mother-in-law.
Yeah,
or
100%.
leave all the cleanup to someone else so that you can leave.
Yeah.
Leave before the party's over. Leave when you still have guests.
Yes.
If you don't have a plan and you go until midnight, it might be you, your spouse, and 3 other people.
And really, the end of night plan can be like the stages too, because I encourage things like the send-off sometimes before the send-off, or think about things that you want to do, because just know if the send-off doesn't have a specific time, you're gonna get less people there. Mm-hmm. If you have a specific time for your send-off, or if you have a false send-off, which I'm a big fan of because there's more people there, then people know. If people don't know that you're gonna do that special dance later, they're not gonna stick around and see it, especially if there's not alcohol. Mm-hmm. But when you're doing these things, make sure you kind of think about your end of the evening in the stages of when people are going to go. Because, people with kids, super young kids, are going home, put their kids away. Grandma and grandpa might not stay that long. So kind of think about what's your end. And you can have that party till 1 a.m. with your bridesmaids and your besties.
Who want to stay up late.
That's super cool. Okay with that. I'll be out by that point. But it's great that you're still there. But if you're going to have a send-off, make sure you're not doing that send-off at 1 a.m. or whatever it is. Most venues don't stay open that late. But really come up with that plan for the end of the night, because that is huge. And having those kind of send-off moments are really important and really help wrap up your wedding and not feel awkward at the end.
And last but not least, we have touched on this. many times throughout the whole podcast.
But it's kind of the whole point.
Just sit back and enjoy when possible.
Just sit back and enjoy at any means necessary is what we should say. Because that's your job. Your job's to enjoy your wedding. You've made a party to celebrate your love so that you can do one thing. Enjoy it. And that's what we want. We want you to have an enjoyable wedding experiences. And all these other tips kind of go into that. You really need to just figure out a way that you're going to enjoy your party to the max ability or your small celebration. Some people prefer more of an intimate thing than a party, but you know what I mean. It's your experience. Find ways to make sure that you can enjoy it as much as possible.
And that's it.
Ooh.
Those are our
Things.
tips, our experienced wedding industry day of advice tips.
It's just stuff. It's funny. As a guy who got married a long time ago, I do wish I knew some of the stuff I knew now when we planned our wedding, because we had all these cool elements that we either we missed or didn't happen because we just didn't think through all these situations. So now that I see it from the vendor side or from the videographer side, I really just want to encourage you to take the steps to go through these things so you enjoy your wedding day. That's your job. You have one job, and that's to enjoy your day. So anything to add that I'm
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Don't sweat the small stuff. That's right.
That's pretty much it.
So this is Seth and Elani signing off, and we are just here to help hopefully inform you about things that help you for your wedding day experience, introduce ourselves a little bit, and hopefully just inspire you to have an amazing wedding day experience. Happy wedding planning and good luck, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode. We appreciate your time, but right now I'd like to introduce you to the voice of an angel producer, Mr. Jason Tukarchuk.
Heyo.
Jason, tell us a little bit about, what's coming up and what do we have on the docket?
Absolutely. Well, next episode is going to be very, very, very great. You're going to want to tune into that for sure. We're talking about reasons to hire a videographer. So, again, if you are someone who is thinking about getting a videographer for your wedding, or you know somebody, maybe it's a brother, maybe it's a sister, maybe it's a friend. This is a good episode for them to listen to, and this is a great time for me to say that you should go to our website, which is SethDavidFilms.com, and you can find out how we could really help you out with your wedding, or like I said, with a loved one's wedding as well. And we would love for you to check us out on YouTube and Instagram. That's Seth David Films. If you search Seth David Films on YouTube and Instagram, you'll be able to find us. But yeah, and you could also email Seth@makeitknownmedia.com. We would love to hear from you if you have questions about how we operate or what things are going to look like. Whatever, we would just love to hear from you. And so make sure you check that stuff out, and we'll definitely love to help you out if we can.
And just a side note, all songs are written and produced by Mr. Jason Tukarchuk. This episode is written and produced by Jason Tukarchuk. I just like saying Jason Tukarchuk. And this episode was performed by Elani, Elkins, and Seth Halligan. Thanks again, guys. See you next week.